Hare Krishna. Welcoming you all to this session of Srimad Bhagavatam, discussing various pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. I would first of all thank Lakshmi Mataji to have given me this opportunity, which is a purification for myself and as a seva to my Guru Maharaj. I'm just trying to share few words which I have heard from the other acharyas and from my Guru. So kindly keep me in your prayers so that I'm able to say a few things that would really make some sense to all of you. So we'll just offer some prayers.
Sorry to interrupt you. Yes, just a small introduction about your mother.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Today we have with us a wonderful speaker, Her Grace Purnanandini Mataji. So Mataji is a structural engineer by profession, and Mataji had worked in Gulf till 2014, and she worked in Bangalore too. And Mataji has been initiated by His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj, and in 2008, and Mataji is also Brahminical initiated in 2013. And Mataji is serving Srila Prabhupada's mission in all possible ways. And I hope many of you know Mataji in several classes. Mataji has taken here in ICF, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and all. I think so. Any forum, Mataji has given many classes. And here in Bangalore also, Mataji serves in many ways in the temple connected. So we welcome Mataji by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Please unmute yourself and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, Mataji, for welcoming our invitation and coming here and giving the session. We hope we will disturb you often to give such sessions future also. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Very kind of you. You've said so many words. I hope to live up to that. Anyway, Krishna says, I'm the ability in man. So you're just glorifying Krishna actually. And it is all about Krishna. So irrespective of the speaker, irrespective of what it is, because it is about Krishna, it is always glorious. Okay. Om Agnana Timirandasya Gnananjana Shlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthai Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 6, Chapter 9, Shlokas 43 to 55, which concludes the chapter with 55th shloka. So, and chapter titled The Appearance of Jimin, Vrtrasura. Very interesting chapter in many ways, which we will just see in the concluding part. So just for a quick recap about what this chapter is all about. If you all should remember that how Indra kills Vishwarupa, and because he's a Brahmana, he gets sinful. And this sinful reaction he shares with four, that is the trees, women, rivers, and land. And Tvashta, who is Vishwarupa's father, who performs an yajna to get a person to kill Indra. And because of a small change in the mantra chanting, it so happens that somebody is created who would be killed by Indra. So the demigods and Vrtrasura, as described, they look so powerful and he's so huge and other things. And then, as usual, they get very bewildered and they get the demigods get scared and they go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead for protection, because he's Bhoktaram Tapasam, Sarvalokam Heshwaram. So being pleased, the Lord asked them to uproot the Dichi, and which we will now see. So we'll go from Shloka 43, and we are going to read the translations. So those of you want to read can raise their hands. I'm just going to share the screen. Yes, I see Krishnamurti Prabhu. Yeah, so Shloka 43, kindly read the translation. Hare
Mataji,
Krishna.
scroll, it is to be scroll little bit
Is that okay?
up and not downwards.
Okay. Now?
Translation, only translation, Mataji.
Yes, Prabhu, because there are 10 shlokas. Mataji said that we are reading the
Okay,
translation. Okay. Yeah, please.
Okay, Mataji, okay.
Yeah. Shloka 43. Please read, Prabhu.
Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Dear Lord, you are omniscient, and therefore you know very well why we have taken shelter at your lotus feet, which provides shade that gives relief from all material disturbances. Since you are the supreme spiritual master and you know everything, we have sought shelter of your lotus feet for instruction. Please give us relief by counteracting our present distress. Your lotus feet are the only shelter for a fully surrendered devotee and are the only means for subduing all the tribulation to the tribulation of the material world. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So here the demigods, though they are praying to Lord because he is omniscient and as Paramatma, and they also say you're the spiritual master, and we have surrendered to your lotus feet. Kindly give us relief from all the tribulations of this material world. Now, those who are familiar with the Mangalarti song, it says Samsara Dhava Leader Tranayaka. It says, this samsara, this material world is like forest fire. Now, what is very special about forest fire? It catches on itself, and it can catch it at any time. How is that related to us? Now, Srimad Bhagavatam 1 is, of course, we have to know about the Lord, his avatars and the devotees. And more so important, what is the takeaway for us to implement in our day-to-day life? So this material world is like the forest fire. It can start at any time without any reason. And then what is the solution for forest fire? The solution for forest fire is again rain. That means which is given by the Lord. Directly or indirectly, if you say, finally it comes from the Lord. So here they are saying, we are taken shelter at your lotus feet. So kindly give us the shelter. Now I want to read a paragraph from the Krishna book of Srila Prabhupada, of the first chapter, where it says, by prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna. Kindly hear attentively about this, because how exactly this happens in a very nice way it is given. So I'm just going to read it. O self-illuminated one. These are the prayers by demigods for Lord Krishna from the book Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. O self-illuminated one, the great saintly persons who have crossed over the ocean of nations by the help of the transcendental boat of your lotus feet have not taken away that boat. It is still lying on this side. Now somebody goes in a boat, the boat is left on the other side. But it is not so in the spiritual aspect. If one takes a boat to cross over a river, the boat also goes along with one to the other side of the river. And so when one reaches the destination, how can the same boat be available to those who are still on this side? To answer this difficulty, the demigods say in their prayer that the boat of the Lord's lotus feet is not taken away. The devotees still remaining on this side are able to pass over the ocean of material nature, because the pure devotees do not take the boat with them when they cross over. When one simply approaches the boat, the whole ocean of material nascence is reduced to the size of the water in a calf's hoof print. Therefore, the devotees do not need to take the boat to the other side. They simply cross the ocean immediately. Because the great saintly persons are compassionate towards all conditioned souls, the boat is still lying on this side. In other words, one can meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord at any time, and by so doing, one can cross over the great ocean of material existence. So, the demigods in Srimad Bhagavatam, of course, Krishna is also the same condensed version of Srimad Bhagavatam. They are saying just by smaranam, thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord, we are going to cross over the difficulties of the material world. Now, how does that happen? And why should it how does that work? When we, that shloka, Bhuktaram Yagya Tapasam, in the end, Krishna says, Shantim Richati. What is the Shanti that we get? Because when we are troubled, we look out for somebody who we can rely upon, who can be trusted. Then who can be more trusted than Krishna? So the moment one remembers the feet, Lord's lotus feet, then all the tribulations are over, is what the shloka is saying and Srila Prabhupada is saying. So we'll go to the next shloka. Rupali Mataji can read the translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji Danvat Pranam. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, O Lord, O Supreme Controller, O Lord Krishna, please annihilate this dangerous demon Vrtrasura, Twasta's son, who has already swallowed all our weapons, our paraphernalia for fighting, and our strength and influence. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Must be really a powerful, all the demigods could not, when the powerful demigods could not, and they're saying he's already swallowed all our weapons and paraphernalia, and we have no strength to fight him. Yeah, so in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is talking about 4 types of people who do not surrender to the Lord, and 4 types of people who surrender to the Lord, Dushkritino and Sukritino. So the 4 types of people who do not surrender is, Mudha. Mudha is the ass, and then Naradhama. Naradhama is lower mankind, lowest species of mankind. What do we mean by lower species of mankind? If we see in the 84 lakh species of beings that are there, 4 lakh types of human beings. What do we mean by 4 lakh types of human beings? Based on the consciousness, they may look like, they do look like human beings. They eat, sit, and but based on their consciousness. If we have to quickly understand, I always quote this example. When people are constructing very tall buildings, we see some of these workers, very easily climbing, multiple stores without any fear, whereas it looks scary for the others. So what my thought came across is like, they must have really been a monkey in the previous, that vasanas are still very strong. That's how they are not scared. Otherwise, it is the heights they climb is very difficult to understand how they can do it as a human. Just as an example to understand, what do we mean by, so based on the consciousness, Aradhana. Maya Aparita Gnana, very, very interesting aspect the Acharyas give. Aparata is what? To kidnap. What is kidnapped? Their intelligence is kidnapped. So-called intelligent people like the scientists and others, but their intelligence is kidnapped. Like Srila Prabhupada says, what is the use? They are using all their intelligence to make an atomic bomb, to kill, to destroy somebody. What is the need? Anyway, we will be destroyed. Anyway, this body, the material world is going to be destroyed. So that is how, the intelligence is kidnapped in this Maya. And of course, Asurim Bhavamashrita, the demoniac people. And then 4 types of people who surrender to Krishna. That is, somebody who is distressed, somebody who is inquisitive, and somebody who wants money, and somebody who is Gnani. There's 4 types of people. Now, why? What is it that Srila Prabhupada is trying to say about these four types of people who surrender and who don't surrender? Like, he is more so highlighting here about the Sukritino. Like, now, if I have to say, all of us, we have assembled here. We could have done many things, but now we have assembled here. We must have been a little extra pious, because piety, a lot of people are pious, and when they are pious, they have either comfortable lives, or they good looking, or they're very famous, or they are very intelligent. But when all these things are used in the service of Krishna, in any way, either by Shravanam, by Kirtanam or Smaranam, whatever, if we are using it. So that is why they are called Sukritino. They are extra pious. So here, even though the demigods, they are demigods, powerful, they are, powerful administrators of the Lord. They have been given that position because they are extremely nice devotees of the Lord, and also they are powerful administrators. But even then, further slokas we'll see how their intelligence is not complete, because they have they have some desire. But still, the intelligence is still better than the Maya Pratagnana, where examples of philosophers and scientists Prabhupada gives, if we read the purport in Bhagavad Gita of these two slokas, they they rely on their own intelligence. They think they have made. So that is why he's talking about these two kinds of people, which we will see further how when we hear about Indra and Vrtrasura. And the one other aspect is what happens with the four kinds of people who surrender to Krishna. Purification happens. The best example is Dhruva. What do we mean by purification? Dhruva Maharaj, with intense passion, goes and prays to Krishna. And then when Krishna appears, then he realizes, oh my God, what did I do? I asked for a broken piece of glasses, but then I have the diamond here. But because his desire was there, even though he realized, he still had to rule, before going back to Vaikuntha. So he purifies. So that is the plus point about the Sukritino Arjuna. The Sukritino people who have come to Krishna for whatever their needs are. So last aspect, Bhaktivinoda Thakur saying, Kamena, no, 1 second. Marabi Rakhabi yo Icha Tohara. So much so, finally they are so much purified. And then they say, whether you protect us or whether you destroy us, either way, we are completely surrendered to you. So this is the effect of surrendering or praying to Krishna, even though, because initially we all come, mostly we come to Krishna consciousness, or we come to bhakti, saying, I want a good job, I want my parents to good health, or my children should study well, they should get they should settle down nicely, should get a good wife, husband, whatever. Yeah, all of us come with that. And then with sadhana bhakti, association of devotees, all those desires are purified. And then we realize either ways, whether we ask or not, we are going to get what is distant to us. But then our only prayer should be that, Krishna, keep me on your service. Right? So we will see Shloka 45. Navakishori Mataji can read the translation of text 45.
Sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dandat Pranam, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O Lord, O Supreme Pure, you live within the core of everyone's heart and observe all the desires and activities of the conditioned souls. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Lord Shri Krishna, your reputation is bright and illuminating. You have no beginning, for you are the beginning of everything. This is understood by pure devotees because you are easily accessible to the pure and truthful. When the conditioned souls are liberated and sheltered at lotus feet, are after roving throughout the material world for many millions of years, they attain the highest success of life. Therefore, O Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, we offer our respectful obeisances at your lotus feet. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you. Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna. So, the conditioned soul, we all conditioned souls are roaming around this material world for eons, for millions and millions of births. We are, and then when we realize after repeated birth and death that we are going nowhere, and then what we thought would we would get happiness in this material world. Happiness in a way that it never stops. I mean, uninterrupted happiness. It is not got in this material world. And then when that jignasa, or when that inquiry, or it starts, then we wonder, what is it that is going to give me, pacify me in this material world of forest fire? And again here, it is said that it's only the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord which is going to give us the real happiness. And also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is talking about how only the Vasudeva feature of the Lord descends to protect his devotees, which is what the Lord is famous for. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam. You see the interesting aspect of the shloka. Paritranaya sadhunam, just to protect his devotees, because Krishna doesn't have to come to kill the demons. He has to just think, and even if it is a mass of devotees or mass of demons or anybody who he has to destroy, a tsunami, an earthquake, he has a special corner, that corner for the devotees. So whether it was for Gajendra, whether it was for Prahlad, whether for Dhruva or the Pandavas, he comes because he wants to show the conditioned souls. Eventually, when we are reading about all these great devotees, that how he personally comes to protect his devotees, which he is saying in Bhagavad Gita, Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Ye Jana Paripasate Sham Nityaviyuktanam Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. He says, I personally come and take care of the devotees, right? And then, of course, I think we all know the famous story about how that Brahmana who's reading, who marked off, how will Krishna come personally, and then he goes for Madhukari and he doesn't get. And Krishna Balram come as two boys bringing lot of ingredients, and the wife cooks. And then they show how your husband has beaten us. And then the Brahmana comes, because he would have marked in the Bhagavad Gita that how can the Lord come personally. Okay, so Krishna, in time and again, he's saying, he's showing, he's descending. He doesn't have to do it. It's like, when I was thinking about this. Now, if we are taking a break on weekends, right? And then if the boss calls, and then he says, no, you have to come to office. How will we feel? Anybody wants to say? How do we feel if we are completely cut off from office, but then the boss calls up and says, come to office? What
I feel like, Hare Krishna Mataji, I would feel like quitting.
Yeah. So but this is what Krishna does. He is vacationing in Goloka with his devotees, right? But he leaves that and comes. But he never feels like quitting, like how we react here. He feels it joyful to come. He feels joyful, and he feels the pain also. You people are unnecessarily suffering here. Come back. He comes to give that trailer to all of us. This is how our world is. So come back. So that is how compassionate the Lord is, and he keeps coming to take us back. And also in the purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about the 5 types of liberation, and also about the 5 types of rasas that one attains by practicing pure devotional service. The 5 types of liberation is of course Sajya, Salokya, Sarupya, Srashti, and Samipya. And the 5 types of rasas, anybody wants to share? What are the 5 types of rasas that the Jivatma and
Vatsalya
Paramatma?
rasa, Madhurya rasa,
Okay.
Vasalya rasa,
Vatsalya, Madhurya,
Sakya.
Shanta rasa,
Sankhya rasa,
Yeah. Okay.
Sakya rasa.
Okay. It would be nice if we can take in that progression Shanta,
Manivedan.
Shanta,
Shanta
Sakya,
rasa,
Sakya,
Vatsalya,
Vatsalya,
yeah, Madhu,
Sankhya,
and then
Vasalya, Madhurya, Shanta rasa,
yeah, okay. Shanta, Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. It is in that progression. If we can remember this in that progression, we will not forget. Shanta Bhava or Dasya Bhava, Sakya Bhava, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Yeah, which is the topmost. Madhurya Bhava is the topmost, which is what is seen in the mostly in the in Golok Vrindavana. So that is what this shloka is talking about. How just by remembering the lotus feet of Krishna. Now it seems so simple, right? Just remembering the lotus feet of Krishna. Now and when always. So how many of us think it is very easy to remember always? Anybody wants to say? All we have to do is just smaranam. Think of lotus feet of Krishna. Always. Anybody? How easy or difficult is it throughout the day? Quickly, 1 or 2 people.
Difficult.
Me,
Because we are in the material thing, no, we don't, we forget.
We forget. Yeah.
it is possible. It is possible, Mataji.
Very good. Haribol. I like that.
Yeah, your kind self has direct shown the path on that day. Yes, by that day only, I am practicing that.
Oh, Haribol, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Sindhu Mataji can read the translation of text 46.
Sloka Mataji?
I'm sorry. No, we are reading only the translation because
Okay.
Yes.
Haribol Mataji. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada. Jai. 9.46. Sri Shukadeva Goswami continued, O King Parikshit, when the demigods offered the Lord their sincere prayers in this way, the Lord listened by His causeless mercy. Being pleased, He then replied to the demigods.
Okay. So, yeah. So, we'll see what the Lord replied. 47. Who wants to read? There are any other devotees? There are.
Shall I read?
Yes, please. Yes, Mataji. Please read the translation.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Shri Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O beloved demigods, you have offered your prayers to me with great knowledge, and I am certainly most pleased with you. A person is liberated by such knowledge, and thus he remembers my exalted position, which is above the conditions of material life. Such a devotee is fully purified by offering prayers in full knowledge. This is the source of devotional service to me. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So here, now in the previous shloka, it said the Supreme Lord is pleased. And what is He pleased by? By the prayers offered by demigods. Now, how are the prayers offered by demigods, or any prayers that we see, whether it is Gajendra, whether it is Kunti Maharani, whether it is Brahma? There are so many prayers, Dhruva prayers. Okay, they address the Lord by His name, and by shloka, the Uttama shloka, Srila Prabhupada says, selected verses. And then what does the shlokas do? They glorify Him. Now, Prabhupada is talking about the impersonalist here, how the personalist and impersonalist are different people in the path of bhakti. Now, we will see, I just generally quote examples so that we understand. Now, suppose I say Krishnamurti Prabhu, right? If I call out, now how will Krishnamurti Prabhu feel? How do you feel, Prabhu, if I call you by your name?
Mataji,
I
By
just-
involving,
You
by
felt-
involving,
yeah, you feel involved, you feel wanted, you feel, you feel somebody is noticing, right? So that is, I'm just saying, even if you say in a big crowd, or even if you people are addressing you by your name, you really feel so much more wanted, right? So that is how Krishna here, thank you, Prabhu. Krishna is saying, why he is pleased with the demigods, because they're saying Govinda, Madhava, they're calling out to him by his name, and then the Lord is pleased. And of course, we have several names, right from Krishna, Hari, and various names, whatever names. First is calling out in the name. The second is calling out with intensity, right? So if we have to get the attention of the Lord, the famous example everybody gives, and then I'm going to repeat. The child keeps calling Amma, Amma, Amma. Then the mother keeps doing her work, But the moment the child says, Amma, something happens, then what does the mother do? She runs, leaves everything. So that is how we have to call Krishna. Say, Krishna, to really call out to Krishna. And then he says, oh, somebody really needs me, calling out. That's what Draupadi did also. So the Prabhupada is bringing out the aspect of how the people in the path of bhakti are so personal that they call Krishna by his name. They do devotional service. What do we mean by devotional service? Devotional service. Service means we are accepting the Lord as a person. Then devotional service means we call him by name. We offer him various articles when we are doing arati. Then we offering him bhoga, and because he's a person, water, everything. So that is how our prayers have to be. That we have to. It is so difficult. We are so impersonal by nature. That. What do you mean by impersonal? We interact with so many kinds of people with so many difficulties, and then there are plenty of times when we just move on with our work. We cannot relate to every other problem also, but then sometimes we become so rigid, that we are so impersonal, that we don't accept this aspect of personality. And this is enhanced when we connect everything with Krishna. When we accept Krishna as person, then when we are relating with people, then we see the Lord in them, as Paramatma, and then we say, oh, the Lord is there, and if I react like this, will the Lord like it? So the personalism aspect enhances when we do devotional service, and that is how our any relationship becomes much better in Krishna consciousness, contrary to the belief, contrary to the misconception in the material world, that if one gets to Krishna consciousness, then their other duties are neglected. No, actually it is enhanced, because we have a common goal in all the relationship, be it husband and wife, children. We want to please them, because we know if we are not pleasing the person, then the Lord in them is not, we are displeasing the Lord indirectly. Right? So the personality aspect, the personality, accepting the Lord as a person in prayers, in the service that we do, is what Srila Prabhupada is highlighting here in this particular shloka. And that is what the Lord likes. Right? So that is about this shloka. We will read the next one. Yeah, who wants to read, please? Somebody who has not read shloka 48. Anybody wants to read? Okay, Sindhu Mataji, will you want to read?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Yeah.
Purport, Mataji.
No, only the translation.
Translation, yeah. Haribol. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, text 48. O best of the intelligent demigods, although it is true that nothing is difficult for one to obtain when I am pleased with him, a pure devotee whose mind is exclusively fixed upon me does not ask me for anything but the opportunity to engage in devotional service.
Yeah. opportunity to engage in devotional service. So we have all we in the sadhana bhakti, so many difficulties we come across, right? Especially when we have to concentrate, on what we are reading. If we have to remember when we are chanting, it has to be offenseless. So many things, right? It seems as an impossible task. Very nicely one acharya was saying, independently I'm incapable of anything. What does it mean? Independently I'm incapable of anything at all. Now, even if I have to speak now, right? There is a demigod which is, there for vocal cord, and then he is allowing me to speak. And of course, he is getting the power from the Lord. So, in fact, everything we are dependent on the Lord. But because of our conditioning, we think we are independent. So, independently, actually, we are capable of nothing. But then, dependently, we are capable of even the impossible thing. So how to understand this? Dependently means dependent on what? Dependent on the Lord. That shloka about the Guru. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yet kripataham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarina. So if you have complete dependence on Guru, even a dumb person can speak. And a person without leg can climb mountains. Yet kripaham Guru vande. I mean, because of the mercy of Guru. And why mercy of Guru? Because it is the Guru who is going to take us to Krishna. So here, even though the demigods are powerful and they are praying to the Lord to help them, but then instead of asking for devotional service, they are asking for something material, which is again very temporary. And then in the last line of the purport, Srila Prabhupada, the Lord regretted that the demigods are not asking for pure devotional service, right? Now, how, especially this material world, there are so many things that, we want to achieve in the spiritual aspect, especially about the control of senses and other things. Now, how can we achieve that? Now, if we see this example of Vishwamitra, right? How many years did Vishwamitra meditate? For how long did he meditate?
1,000 years.
How many years?
60,000.
60,000 years, right? And then what happened? He did not even see Menaka. He did not even know who it was. All he heard was the tinkling of the ankle bell, right? And then Shakuntala was born. For 60,000 years, okay, in contrast to this, Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur, what did he do? How many rounds Haridas Thakur would chant?
192.
192 rounds. And then, of course, he was sent Maya Devi, and she tried to, distract him. But then what happened eventually? What was Haridas Thakur doing? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He said, yes, I will give you, I will, whatever you wish, I will give you, but let me just finish my chanting, right? And then eventually what happens? In 3 days, that prostitute who came becomes his devotee, right? So why I'm highlighting here is, trying to highlight here is, any other process other than pure devotional service can take us away. I mean, there is a good possibility of Maya trying to, take us away from that. But then, just the chanting of the holy names, and trying to chant offenselessly, trying to chant with devotees, trying to chant with pure devotees when taking their association, can keep us protected from so many things. And for Kali Yuga, it is easy and difficult. It is easy because it has absolutely no rules. Chanting of the holy names has absolutely no rules. You're sleeping, one is awake, one is traveling, one is, somebody is born in the house, somebody is dead, somebody is ill, whatever condition we can just chant. It doesn't in any way contaminate the holy name. Unlike the other aspects of the sadhana, I cannot lie on the bed and do arati to Krishna. No, I have to get up, take a bath and other things. But chanting of the holy names, so that is how powerful it is. It is powerful in the sense it can be chanted anywhere, and it has, and that influence is so high and so powerful that even the strongest of Maya can be kept away from us. Why? Because when we are chanting, what is it that we are saying? Two things happens when we are chanting. We remember that we are the servant of the Lord, and then we are telling him, kindly engage us in your service. Right? So it reminds us that we are not just body and we are the soul. So, and then just now in the previous shloka we saw how Krishna is very happy, or anybody is very happy when we call out the names, So naturally it is coming from Krishna. So every time I'm saying Krishna, then Krishna is very happy. So that's how chanting of the holy names takes us to this aspect of devotional service, and not keep us on the aspect of wanting any material aspect, right? So we will see the shloka 49. Yeah, I don't see any. Okay, some Sudha V Mataji has raised her hand. Yes, Mataji, please read. Translation.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Those who think material assets to be everything or to be the ultimate goal of life are called misers, kripanas. They do not know the ultimate necessity of the soul. Moreover, if one awards that which is desired by such fools, he must also be considered foolish. Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Brahmana and Kripana. If we have read 2.7 of Bhagavad Gita, Karpanya dosho patasvabhava prichami tvam dharma samuracetaha. Kripana, Krishna is calling Arjuna Kripana. You're using all your intelligence, all your ability, and you think you're an Aryan, and you're very intelligent, and you're using all this just to save your body. So that is a Kripana. Kripana means, it's very close to that word Jipana. Jipana, I don't know. In Kannada, it means a miser, right? So if we are using any of our abilities just to do these four things: eat, sleep, mate, and defend, then we are a Kripana. But the opposite of that is a Brahmana. What is a Brahmana? A Brahmana is one who knows, that this body is not permanent, and then I have to do the basic minimum to keep the body healthy, or till the soul is there. But the rest of the time I have to use it in acquiring the knowledge of the self and the super self. It is very interesting in this, if we read Srila Prabhupada's first chapter, in the first chapter, when Dronacharya, that example is perfect about what is a Brahmana. Not just being born in a Brahmana family. Dronacharya, when Drupada comes and asks him to teach him archery, to teach him how to use the weapons so that when he can fight the war, Dronacharya doesn't hesitate. Now, no, I'm sorry, Drushtadimna, Drupada's son, Drushtadimna comes and asks him. Now, why am I saying this? Because Dronacharya is known for being a guru to teach all this. Because he knew Drushtadimna would eventually kill him. He was born, Drupada does an yagna to get a son, so that son is Drushtadimna, who will kill Dronacharya. But Dronacharya very happily teaches everything to Drushtadimna. And in fact, Duryodhana tells him, look, now he is going to fight against us. You have taught him all this thing. Anyway, that is a story. That story apart, what I'm trying to say here is, Dronacharya said, irrespective of whether I teach him this mastery, teach him about the weapons and archery and other things, I am going to die. this body is going to be dead. So because he is coming from, he is a king who is going to uphold dharma. Earlier, knowledge was not imparted to people just because they were intelligent. It was imparted to people who would uphold dharma. That was why he imparted this knowledge to Dhristadyumna and not to Ekalavya. As Ekalavya was a Nishada, and he would misuse the knowledge, right? So here the aspect of Brahmana is highlighted, that because he knows, Brahma Janati iti Brahmana, he knows I am going to die. Either ways, I am going to die. Either he is just an instrument. So he still teaches Dhristadyumna. So this is what Srila Prabhupada is trying to highlight in the 2.7 and in this sloka, how we should not, ask for material benefits, because anyway it is temporary. Like the material benefits is connected to the body itself is temporary, so the material. Very beautiful two shlokas of Chaitanya Charitamrita I want to quote here. And then what it says, when we ask for material benefits, what is the reaction of Krishna? Krishna kahe ame baji mage vishaya sukha amrita chadi vishya magi yehi bada murkha. He's saying, Krishna is saying, badi murkha. He's asking what? He's giving up amrita chadi vishya magi. He's asking for poison. Ami vigna yeyi murke vishake ne diva swacharana mrita diya vishaya bulai liaiba. Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives up ambrosia to poison. Since I'm very intelligent, that is, Krishna is saying, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. Prabhupada is saying, is quoting how intelligent Krishna is. He's super intelligent. So as devotees, even if we go and ask, ask him for material desires, then he knows how to purify us, because he's super intelligent. Actually, it is very interesting, if devotees can make a note. If you read the shlokas from in Bhagavad Gita from 2.49 to 2.53, every shloka has buddhi, buddhi, buddhi. And Srila Prabhupada very beautifully says, what is buddhi yoga? What exactly is buddhi yoga and bhakti yoga? It is shlokas number 2.49 to 2.53, right? So there Srila Prabhupada says, bhakti, buddhi means doing bhakti yoga. Dadami buddhi yogam tam yenam payanti te, 10.10. So what is the buddhi we have to get? That, see, it's like, this example, I have quoted several times, but then, as children, we never went to our parents, to the mother. Amma, have you packed my dabba? Amma, will you make lunch for me? Will you make breakfast for me? Have any of us asked? Devotees, have any of us asked?
No.
No. So it's
Because
exact.
we
will make it. So Krishna is exact. It is as foolish as that when we go and ask Krishna, give me a good wife, give me a good husband, give me a car, a bungalow, whatever, etc., etc. It's exactly that foolish only, because materially, mother only, father are so concerned to provide. He's supreme father. He's supreme intelligent. He's supreme compassionate, supreme powerful. So you see, it's like going to a king and saying, "Oh, please give me 10 paisa." It is exactly like that. So it is not worthwhile asking any material thing to Krishna. Yeah. Who wants to read this translation? Text 50. Quickly, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, may I?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Hare
The
Translation by Srila
translation.
Prabhupada
Yes. Yeah.
from Prabhupada Ki Jai. A pure devotee who is fully accomplished in the science of devotional service will never instruct a foolish person to engage in fruitive activities for material enjoyment, nor to speak of helping him in such activities. Such a devotee is like an experienced physician who never encourages a patient to eat food injurious to his health, even if the patient desires it. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, Srila Prabhupada in the, Prabhupada is talking about Hritagnana, again, small intelligent minds. Prabhupada is Kamastaste Hritagnana. Prapadyante Anya Devata. First of all, they surrender to other demigods, which is, they are bereft of actual intelligence. And further, he's saying, people who actually surrender to me, how? Tesham Satatirthan Bhajatam Priti Purvaka. With love. Dadami Buddhi, again Buddhi Yogam. For what? And then Prabhupada is quoting Janma Karma Chame Tektva Deham Punarjanma Neti Mamiti Soachana. So what is the Buddhi Krishna gives? That he is going to take us away from this cycle of birth and death, which is the actual problems, miseries of life, right? So it is, and then also Srila Prabhupada there says it is not just Krishna who is so compassionate to us. Actually, more than Krishna, it is his devotees, Krishna's devotees, who are more compassionate, because until there are, until we call out, because on a general aspect, we are known to do all these karma kanda activities, right? Praying to demigods, asking for benedictions and all that. So in the process, then Krishna waits till such kind of people who come to him and pray to him. But then if you see what Srila Prabhupada has introduced in the aspect of Vrtrasura and other things, just that aspect of when the devotees are going, we are distributing prasadam, we are telling people, please come, just pull the rope once, they're spiritual. So that is how Krishna, the devotees are more merciful, but we must not forget that Krishna is the most powerful. Of course, the process has started because of mercy of the devotee, but then to take it further, they need Krishna's mercy, because also. So the association of devotees, is very important, because what happens in the association of devotees, they never, what is it that devotees do? They always talk of Krishna, they eat together, they're eating prasadam, they're discussing Krishna, and then how do people greet? If any of you have this habit of especially Sunday feast and all, if you are attending any of the nearest ISKCON temples, you start, the moment you see, you are only saying Hare Krishna, Hari Bol, and then the class and the prasadam and the services and other things. So that is how, once the devotees, because of the mercy of the devotees, we get closer to Krishna. And then the Krishna's holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, purifies us. It's a cyclic one. It purifies us. We do more devotional service, good chanting, more service, more association. So that's how this whole aspect of devotional service goes. So, and then in that whole this thing, if we have noticed, when we are among devotees, no matter what our problems are or how much we are stressed out, in that amount of time, those problems are just forgotten. At least I have experienced this. Anybody else wants to share? No matter what difficult situation we are in, when we are in association, we forget that. Have we experienced? Have any others experienced?
Yes, I have experienced. After coming to Krishna consciousness,
yes,
actually everything looks minimum, Mataji.
Everything looks minimum, right?
Really happy from inside.
Yeah. So what is it? Why is it? We feel the presence of the Lord, because Krishna says, I'm in my holy name. I'm present in my holy name. And it says, Naham tishtante Vaikunta. I am not in Vaikunta. I am not in the heart of the yogis. Where am I? I am there when my devotees, where my devotees are glorifying me, he says. So that is why you feel that aspect of, that bliss you feel when we are with devotees, right? So we have to go a little quicker. 51, text 51. It's taking a little time. Is it okay? How much can I stretch? Is Mataji there? Devotees? Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, yes. So till what time can I go on? Mataji? Devotees till 9:10, is it okay?
Yes,
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji. It's okay, Mataji.
Yes,
Yes, Mataji.
Okay. Yeah. So Rupali Mataji, please read this translation.
Sorry, Mataji, I was reading.
I'm sorry. Yeah, please go ahead, Mataji. Yes. And
Okay,
then
Hare
next
Krishna.
shloka, Rupali Mataji. Yes, please read.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O Meghavan, Indra, all good fortune unto you. I advise you to approach the exiled saint Dadayancha, Dadichi. He has become very accomplished in knowledge, vows, and austerities, and his body is very strong. Go ask him for his body without delay. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So you see the pravritti, material pravritti. Indra, to save himself, he is ready to go and ask. In fact, he has to ask Dadichi to leave his body because he wants his bones. If he wants his bones, then Dadichi has to die. Why? Because he wants to save himself. You see, that is how we are in this material world. We don't. If we are not Krishna conscious, all of us are like that. This Kali Yuga is like this. Material world is like that. We don't bother what is happening to others. But then we want to survive. We want to survive. That is what Indra is showing. See, this is how dangerous material benediction, asking for material benediction. In the process, he doesn't realize that he is asking somebody to die because he wants to live. Right? And then we'll see Dadichi being a great devotee, what does he say? Right? So that is why chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, kills our such demoniac propensity, of that I have to survive irrespective of the others. That is why chanting of Hare Krishna mantra is very important. Yes. Rupali Mataji, who read? Navkishwari Mataji read, I think, right? Rupali Mataji, you want to read the translation? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, shall I read, Mataji?
Okay, Mataji, please go ahead.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Shri Prabhupada. That saintly Dadyancha, who is also known as Dadichi, personally assimilated the spiritual science and then delivered it to the Ashwini Kumaras. It is said that Dadyancha gave them mantras through the head of a horse. Therefore, the mantras are called Ashvashira. After obtaining the mantras of spiritual science from Dadichi, the Ashwini Kumaras became Jivan Mukta, liberated even in this life. Hare Krishna.
So this story, if we read the purport, Ashwini Kumaras, they wanted the spiritual science, and then they go ask Dadichi Muni. And Dadichi Muni is a great sage. He said, for now, I am doing some things which are materially, will be material. You come after some time. Then when they go, then Indra comes, and then he tells Dadichi Muni, if you give this spiritual science to Ashwini Kumaras, I'm going to cut off your head. And then, so they being physicians, they come back to Dadichi Muni. You see, both the receiver and the person who wants to give knowledge, are eager to take the spiritual science. Dadichi Muni says, I will still give it to you. So Ashwini Kumaras, the first among transplant, water organ transplant, they say, we will take off your head, we'll keep a horse head, you give us the spiritual science, and then when Indra comes and cuts off your head, we will give back your original head. You see, Can we think of such a transplant? Total head transplant. So there is nothing. That is why Prabhupada said, you read Bhagavatam, everything is known. So the aspect here is, how material benedictions, when we want material benedictions, how dangerous it can be. Spiritual signs they want. And what is Indra threatening Dadichi Muni? I will cut off your head. That is how this aspect of wanting to be materially opulent, or maintaining our material opulence, how dangerous it is. It can blind us very much, right? So we'll see in text 53. Yeah. Read me note 75, whoever that is.
May Mataji?
Krishnamurti Prabhu, yes, Hare Krishna, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Translation by Vedanta Prabhupada ki jai. Dajjancha's invincible protective covering, known as the Narayana Kavacha, was given to Vasta, who delivered it to his son Ishwarupa, from whom you have received it. Because of this Narayana Kavacha, Dadichi's body is now very strong. You should therefore beg him for his body. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So what is it that Dadichi Muni's body becomes so strong? Narayana Kavacha, right? So Narayana Kavacha is a series of shlokas. Now, should we learn? If we can learn and recite, good. But then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Guru Parampara has made it very easy for us. Like if we say Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. If the Acharyas say the whole import of Vedas is in this Mahamantra. So if we are able to practice, do our sadhana to chant this mantra offenselessly, then whatever effect the Dadichi Muni got by chanting Narayana Kavacha mantra, we can get that. I mean, I'm not discouraging the devotees to not learn Narayana Kavacha, but chanting the Mahamantra also is equally powerful, is what I'm trying to say. So that is how the Dadichi Muni was very powerful because of chanting the Lord's name. The purpose is, the takeaway, the essence is chanting the holy names of the Lord. So 54, yes, who wants to read translation 54?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I?
Please, Mataji.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When the Ashwini Kumaras beg for the Dhyancha's body for your behalf, on your behalf, he will surely give it because of affection. Do not doubt this, for the Dhyancha is very experienced in religious understanding. When the Dhyancha awards you his body, Vishwakarma will prepare a thunderbolt from his bones. This thunderbolt will certainly kill Vrtrasura because it will be invested with my power. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
It will certainly kill because it is invested with my power. And Dadiancha, he's saying, Dadichi will give you his bones, So a true Brahmana, right? Or rather a Vaishnava, because a Vaishnava is above Brahmana. Like he says, okay, you want this because if it is going to help all the demigods be safe, fine, I will give it. And so that is what the Lord tells Indra, right? And the demigods, on the whole, the demigods, he gives this thing to go for them to go and ask Dadichi for his bones to make a thunderbolt to kill Vrtrasura. So last shloka for the day, and also this is the last shloka for this chapter. Yeah. Saras Mataji, do you want to read the translation, please?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Translation by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Shri Prabhupada. When Vrtrasura is killed, because of my spiritual strength, you will regain your strength, weapons, and wealth. Thus, there will be all good fortune for all of you. Although Vrtrasura can destroy all the three worlds, do not fear that he will harm you. He is also a devotee and will never be envious of you. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Mataji, please read the purport also. It was very
Okay.
nice, the purport.
Okay.
Yes.
Purport. A devotee of the Lord is never envious of anyone. What to speak of other devotees? As revealed later, Vrtrasura was also a devotee. Therefore, he was not expected to be envious of the demigods. Indeed, of his own accord, he would try to benefit the demigods. A devotee does not hesitate to give up his own body for a better cause. Chanakya Pandita said, Sannimitte varam tyago vinashe niyate sati. After all one's material possessions, including his body, will be destroyed in due course of time. Therefore, if the body and other possessions can be utilized for a better cause, a devotee never hesitates to give up even his own body. Because Lord Vishnu wanted to save the demigods, Vrtrasura, even though able to swallow the three worlds, would agree to be killed by the demigods. For a devotee, there is no difference between living and dying, because in this life, a devotee engages in devotional service, and after giving up his body, he engages in the same service in the spiritual world. His devotional service is never hindered. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. So amazing. Actually, devotee is never envious of anyone. Vrtrasura, go. In fact, further shloka, chapters you will see during the fight between Indra and Vrtrasura. Vrtrasura, though being a demon, tells Arjuna, tells Indra, go ahead, kill me. And Indra there is thinking, my God, who is this? He's whereas I'm supposed to be a demigod, and I have to be in this mode that dying or living, devotional service is much higher. Wherever I am, I should be devotee, and he is supposed to be a demon. But then you see the role reversals, actual role reversals of devotee further. So what in this chapter, there are few takeaways that we have to see is, we should never judge anyone by their external features or their external behavior, because we never know in what condition, what aspect the soul has come. Neha Abhikramanashosti, it might have done lot of devotional service, but then just some small period, and then it will take up to full devotional service, right? And then who is actually a demon? Demons are, who Prabhupada says, one who doesn't surrender to Krishna. But Vrtrasura, though a demon, was in a demon body, still he was more surrendered than actually Indra, because he was saying, go ahead and kill me. You will see that in the further chapters and shlokas. So we not to be judgmental with anybody in the world, because we really don't know what is the aspect of the soul, and how people are going through so many things, but still they are trying to do devotional service. And the other main aspect is, it doesn't matter for a devotee whether he's living in the living now, or he's dead, or whether he's in hell or heaven or Vaikuntha or Goloka, irrespective. For a devotee, a pure devotee, the only thing that matters is devotional service. Wherever he is, he wants to do devotional service. So this chapter of appearance of Vrtrasura, we have to understand how asking for material benediction is not only foolish, but also very selfish, foolish and selfish. And we need not ask, because the Lord knows everything. And how we should not be judgmental of anybody, because there can be a devotee in any kind of body, and that the Lord knows. So because the Paramatma is there even in the demons, we need not be overtly friendly, but definitely we should not be disrespectful. We can just be neutral, or not make comments like, oh, they are like this only. Because when we come to the devotional path, we tend to make such type of comments that they are not in devotional service and things like that, which we should not get into. we should be careful, because and happy that we are there, and feel sad that they are not there, and then pray to the Lord that let everybody take to devotional service. So with this, we can stop today's class. First of all, my apologies for extending, and then I thank each of you for a patient hearing. If there is any takeaway, it is definitely the mercy of my Guru Maharaj. And of course, there is a lot of shortcomings, which I request all of you to pray for me, so that I can improve by the day. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Thank you.
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय
जय गौर सनातन। हरि बोल। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dhanyavad, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you.
Dandavat Pranam.
Thank you, Mataji, so much. And thank you, everyone. We will meet on Monday.
हरे कृष्ण।